Welcome, accounting students. Today, we're going to break down the financial heartbeat of literally every company. The revenue cycle. It's where all the money comes in, which also means it's where things can go really, really wrong. Understanding how to protect it isn't just some boring textbook exercise. This is a core skill you'll use for your entire career. So let's just start with a big picture question to get us all on the same page. Seriously, think about it for a second. What's the one thing, the one process that absolutely keeps a business from going under? At its core, the answer is pretty simple, right? It's all about turning whatever a company makes or does, whether it's selling cars or selling a cloud subscription, into cold, hard cash in the bank. Sounds simple, but as you're about to see, the reality is incredibly complex. Now, this whole process has a name. You've probably heard it before, the order-to-cash cycle. It is the absolute lifeblood of any organization. And because that's where the money is, it's a huge magnet for both simple mistakes and, deliberate fraud. Our job as accountants is to be the guardians of this process. This stuff is fundamental. Okay, so to really get a handle on the digital controls we use today, we have to kind of rewind the clock a bit. Let's first take a look at the old school manual systems. I'm talking paper, I'm talking people. This is where the foundational ideas of control were first figured out. So in the manual world, everything starts with this. A simple, multi-part paper form. But this little piece of paper is the script for the entire company. Every copy gives a different department permission to do their one specific job. It creates this physical paper trail that you can literally follow from the moment an order is placed to the moment the cash is collected. And that whole paper trail we just mentioned, it serves one absolutely critical purpose. It's the bedrock of all internal controls, something we call segregation of duties, or SOD. The whole idea is to make sure that no single person has too much power. You build a system of checks and balances, where different people are in charge of different parts of a transaction. Now this table, this is gold. It visually maps out exactly where the conflicts are. For instance, just look at that first row. If the same person who handles the physical cash, that's custody, is also the one who updates the customer accounts in the books, that's recording, what could possibly go wrong? Well, it opens the door for a very specific and very sneaky type of fraud. And that scheme is called lapping. It's a classic accounting fraud, kind of like a shell game with customer payments. And it's almost impossible to pull off if you just separate those duties properly. It's also why things like mandatory vacations are such a smart control. You force the employee to take 2 weeks off, and boom, the whole scheme falls apart because they're not there to keep juggling the money. This perfectly shows why separating custody of an asset from the recording of that asset is just, well, it's non-negotiable. Okay, so let's fast forward to today. Let's see how those same principles we learned from the paper world get translated into a powerful, automated system like an SAP or an Oracle. This slide just illustrates the then versus now perfectly. The goal, the control objective, like making sure a customer is good for the money, it doesn't change at all. But the method, it's a total transformation. A manager's handwritten signature gets replaced by an algorithm that checks a credit limit in the blink of an eye. Those old locked filing cabinets, they become these digital fortresses of data encryption. Same logic, totally different world. Modern systems also have these amazing built-in reflexes. We call them input controls. Think of them like a bouncer at a club. They stop bad data before it can even get inside. The system just won't let you save an order if the customer ID doesn't exist, or if you try to type 5 instead of the number 5. It's all about making sure the data is clean from the very, very start. So here's the really crucial point. Role-based access control, or RBAC, is how we take that old-school idea of segregation of duties and just bake it right into the software. A user who's a sales rep can create a sales order, no problem. But if that same sales rep tries to go in and change a customer's credit limit, nope. The system slams the door shut. It's the digital version of having different people working in totally different departments. All right, now let's look ahead. Let's see how cloud computing, AI, and all this emerging tech is pushing the boundaries, creating brand new risks, but also some incredibly powerful new controls. The whole subscription economy has completely changed the game. Think about a software company. They might get paid for a whole year up front, but they can't count all that money as revenue right away. It's kind of like getting paid for a year's worth of pizza on January 1st. You can only earn the money for each pizza after you've actually delivered it. This is way more complex than the old ship and bill model. So how do we deal with this? Well, cloud systems like NetSuite handle this complexity by automating the whole 5-step revenue recognition model from the accounting standard, ASC 606. The system is smart enough to see the different parts of a contract,
allocate the price correctly, and then just automatically spit out the right journal entries, month after month. It ensures you're compliant without a human having to touch it.
And if we look even further down the road, you see stuff like blockchain and AI. I mean, blockchain could give us triple entry accounting, creating this shared, unchangeable record of a transaction that's basically tamper-proof. And we're already seeing AI agents that can predict which customers are going to pay late and then automate the collections process. It's like having a friendly robot that gently reminds people to pay their bills. So, after this whole journey, from paper and filing cabinets to AI and the cloud, what does this all mean for you? For your future as an accountant or an auditor? This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The tools we use have changed in ways we couldn't have imagined 50 years ago, but our fundamental mission to ensure accuracy and integrity, that hasn't changed one bit. Those core principles are timeless. See, your job is no longer going to be about guarding some dusty old book. You're becoming an architect. You're going to be designing, auditing, and securing the digital systems that produce the numbers in the first place. You're not just keeping score anymore, you're designing the scoreboard itself. And so that leaves us with one final thought, something I really want you to take with you. As this technology gets smarter and starts to automate even parts of the audit itself, what's left for us? What's the unautomatable part of being an accountant? The answer, I think, lies in the things that you can't just code into a machine: professional judgment, ethics, and strategic thinking. That is the future you're all preparing for.